Hi there and welcome back. How are you today? So we're still working through this beautiful book. You can change your past. For some reason, I've been drawn to this beautiful book today. And for some reason, chapter 9 keeps opening up where it says experiences. I don't know why, so I'm just going to read and we'll go from there. Okay, see what comes out from why they keep showing me this page. Oh, let's go from the beginning. It says chapter 9, experiences, and we're on page 98. Our colourful experiences dictate the feelings that will be produced. And this can only happen when we interact with the world through our separate I. In other words, via the ego. Because when we are one with the universe, we know that everything is love, loving love. In every moment, there is nothing else happening here. So we separate from this wonderful love and begin this journey called life. Every event that happens in our lives is carefully chosen, ultimately to have the experience your soul wanted to have. Your soul yearned for these experiences. It couldn't wait to get here and start this lifetime. I can imagine you're sitting there scratching your head. Why on earth would I want to experience what I had to go through in my life? There are so many reasons. Perhaps to gain a deeper level of compassion or a deeper level of forgiveness. Unlike anything you've experienced before, it's easier to forgive someone who owes you money than it is to forgive someone who has killed your child. Everything in this life is an opportunity for you to grow spiritually. This is your playground, and you have chosen the events that would unfold. Well, your soul has, because these experiences are for your greatest and highest good. At the end of the day, it's for the highest and greatest good of it all. Source. So I guess on page 99, what really sticks out from everything that I read, there are so many reasons, perhaps to gain a deeper level of compassion or a deeper level of forgiveness. It's easier to forgive someone who owes you money than it is to forgive someone who has killed your child. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. Forgiveness and grudges. You know, lately I've been thinking a lot about people who hold grudges because I've grown up observing this my whole life. People who hold grudges. And what comes to mind is that there's so many ways to look at this actually. So let's work through it together. And then of course, please share your comments, your ideas, your thoughts, that we can keep moving through this conversation. Because you may be one of these people that are sitting out there listening to this video that holds grudges. And the question is, why? Why do you need to hold a grudge? Now, to me, to hold a grudge is to not forgive. You can't forgive that person. When you hold a grudge with someone, you are unable to forgive. And why is it that you can't forgive? You know, I'm going to look at, of course, my life. I always share everything in my life. And I've watched my parents hold grudges with pretty much everyone. And at the moment, the latest grudge is with me. Now, what happens is when you hold a grudge, you're not forgiving that person, no matter how much that person apologizes. In their mind, it's unforgivable. But is it? Is it really unforgivable? What are you saying when you say it's unforgivable? You're saying to that person, you're not allowed to make mistakes. Because when we go through life, especially the stage where we are unconscious, where we haven't woken up yet, where we are still functioning from the ego, from the separate I, that whole stage is about making mistakes. That whole stage. It's like, it reminds me of when you're learning a piece of music and you've just started. You know, as a piano teacher, I'm watching this all the time. Student comes in, I give them a new piece of music, and from the very moment they start, mistake, 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 mistake. You know, that's all I hear for weeks on end until they work out all the mistakes and ta-da! We have a beautiful piece of music. That's what our human experience is. Mistake, 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 mistake. And when you get to the end, ta-da! Beautiful human experience. You've gained from every mistake that you've made. You've gained knowledge, you've gained experience, wisdom. Look at all the beautiful things that you gain along the way from all these things that you call a mistake. But back to grudges, because what came to my awareness quite recently is that a grudge starts with something that we can't forgive from childhood. And it starts there. It's this one thing that we hold on to that we can't forgive. And from there, it just keeps piling up. Then becomes all this list of unforgivable things. So every time someone comes in and does something that wrongs them, offends them, can't forgive. That's it. Can't forgive, grudge. That's it. Go away. And it's usually quite a traumatic thing, but not necessarily so, because I noticed as I was living in South America, because I lived there for about 10 years, that it seems to be a way of being there. People get offended left, right, and center, all day getting offended, all day getting upset and not talking to each other for whatever reason. It seems to be a pattern with people there that they can't forgive, and we have to hold on to these grudges against people. But what I can't understand is, in my human experience, there's lots of things that I would think, oh, that was a mistake. I didn't do that deliberately to hurt that other person. It just happened as part of my experience. So I can apologize for my unconsciousness in that moment. I wasn't aware that my words and my actions were going to hurt that person in that way, because I was still evolving in my human experience. Just like my beautiful students are always evolving through their music pieces until they get to the end, and then it's just divine. But they need to make all these mistakes along the way. They can't get to a perfectly played piece without making hundreds and thousands of mistakes along the way. It's part of the process. And I feel like life is the same. I don't like that word much, the word mistake in life, because I feel like there aren't mistakes. They're things that are meant to happen. But for us in our human mind, we may think that they are mistakes. You know, they may feel like mistakes, like we stumble, and then eventually, it's like when you learn to walk, you fall over many times, you stumble many times before you master this beautiful process of walking that we do as humans here on earth. The talk is the same. The first 5 years of our lives, it's all gabble, until eventually a lovely language comes out. But we muck it up a lot before we get there. It's part of the process. And our whole human experience is the same. It's all this mess, until we get to the point where it's, we've gained all the wisdom and all the knowledge and everything we needed to learn from that experience. And we look back on it and we think, we needed all those mistakes to get us to this point right here, right now, where we are elevated in our consciousness. So when we hold grudges, in truth, we're saying that you're not allowed to make a mistake, because once you make a mistake, we're not going to forgive you. This is what we're saying. And to say that you're not allowed to make a mistake because I won't forgive you, what is that saying about you? If you make a mistake, I can't forgive you. Does that mean that you're perfect and you never make mistakes? That you hold that high standard for others? Think about it. If people aren't allowed to make mistakes, in your view, they can't make mistakes because you can't forgive them. In essence, you're saying that what? Are you perfect? You don't make mistakes? Or perhaps is it that you can't forgive yourself for your mistakes? And it's a lot easier to hold grudges and hold others accountable for their mistakes because you don't want to look at yours. Think about it. Because I know I've messed up time and time again. It's been messy. I know I've made mistakes in my human experience. But I'm quick to forgive. I don't hold grudges. I don't need to. I am clear as to why I am here. And to be the unconditional love is not about not forgiving, holding grudges. It's the opposite. It's about showing you how you can free yourself from this pattern of holding grudges. And to me, the question for you to ask yourself, is it that I have made mistakes and I cannot forgive myself for them? That I need to hold others accountable for their mistakes and not forgive them? I can't forgive, I can't forgive, I can't forgive. I can't forgive you. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm offended. That's it for the next 10 years, because I've watched this pattern, by the way. Next 10 to 15 years, not talking to you. That's it. I'm offended. I can't forgive you for what you did. And the more I look back on it, I think, hang on a minute. Is it you that stuffed up and you just don't want to accept that you're the one that stuffed up? And you can't forgive yourself? Do you feel that maybe you're the one that did something wrong? That hurt that other person, that upset that other person? And you can't forgive yourself for that? The external world, what we see out in the world, is a reflection of what's going on inside. When you say, I can't forgive you, you are saying you can't forgive yourself. When you look at the world and you see chaos, that chaos is inside of you. When you look out at the world and you think it's such a beautiful world, that beauty is already inside of you. What you are seeing out there is what is happening in here, always. So this beautiful video today is for both sides, for people who hold grudges and for people who are on the other side of the grudges, that can't be forgiven for what they have done. It helps you to understand the state of the person that is holding the grudge. And it takes a weight off when you look at it that way, when you realize that, oh, hang on, it's that person that can't forgive themselves, and therefore they can't forgive you. It has nothing to do with you. And in the next beautiful video, I really want to address trust and trust issues. They kind of go hand in hand with grudges and not forgiving and all of that. So I'll move on to that video now. But for this video, I want you to really think about, if you're the one that holds grudges, what is it in yourself that you can't forgive? Okay, so today there's two sides of the coin to look at. If you are the one that's holding grudges, really look at yourself. What is it within yourself that you can't forgive? And if you are the one on the other side of the grudges and someone's offended with you and they don't want to talk to you and they've shut you out of their life, you still need to just forgive yourself. Because I know from experience you can spend 10 years saying you're sorry, apologizing, and they will never accept that apology. So my advice is, yes, do the apology, because it still makes you feel better that you tried to make amends. You know, that's still good for you, for your soul. You tried to make amends. You did the best that you could. And perhaps in that moment that you apologize is the moment that that person is ready to let that go. And it can be a wonderful release for both of you. So if you feel in your heart that you want to apologize, do that. It's never wasted. But if you have been apologizing, as I have been for the last 10 years, and they don't want to accept your apology, then the next step is for you to understand that you made these mistakes out of your unconsciousness, in your human state, in your separate I. And you just need to forgive yourself for that. And that's it. You were doing the best that you could at the time with what you had in your, like what you were aware of. You know, where you are in your evolutionary state is how you're going to respond or react to different situations. So you did the best that you could do at the time. And if that is heavy in your heart, what happened? Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. It's always about forgiving ourselves. All right, my beautiful beings. So I hope this helps for those of you out there holding grudges, not being able to let go of things, to be able to see things a little bit differently today. All right, my beautiful beings. I love you guys. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. And I'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye for now.